Hi everyone, this is Diana, and this is the second part of my online learning tips. Last time I talked about the practical ways that you can make the most of online learning, and today I want to talk about the community factor, the aspect of group learning that will really supercharge your online experience. I used to think of one-on-one learning as really always the best way, and it is for certain things, but not for everything. In some cases, group learning really outdoes one-on-one learning. And oftentimes on online courses, this is the case. Now, why is this the case? That's because as humans, we really love to have examples of whatever we're learning. We love to hear about the ins and outs of what we're learning. So for instance, say we are learning on how to identify our purpose. And this can seem like a very broad topic, right? And so then we have specific guidelines about how to do it. But by having actual examples of people going through this experience together in a group learning situation, suddenly the material becomes so much more manageable and it becomes much richer in many ways because of the examples. So there's one huge advantage of the group learning component is you get more case studies, more examples, more problems are coming up. People are struggling with certain things. And as humans, we often struggle with similar things. So as soon as one person's question gets answered, it really answers a bunch of other people as well. Hearing other people's experience broadens your mind. You start to see more options for yourself, more insights into the material in the course that you're working on. Working in isolation and simply working on the material on your own will give you absolutely a certain amount of insight, but the group component, the group input will make your insight so much more powerful. So that's something that I have really come to understand over the past few years, actually, when I have seen students of mine really accelerate their learning because they were able to speak with other of my students or other harpists working on the same material. Really, it has been pretty tremendous, actually. The different vocabularies that people will use. Maybe they're talking about exactly the same concept, but they have a slightly different turn of phrase, and that's just the way that you needed to hear it, and suddenly it all clicks, right? Much more chance of that happening in a group. And finally, we're more relaxed in a group, honestly, than one-on-one. When you're one-on-one, you're sort of on the spot, and in order to learn, we do learn better in a relaxed state. So by being in a group, you're kind of off the hook a little bit, but you're still there. You're still in the mix. So I see all of these as the learning advantages to a group situation. The second part, of course, is all the emotional support that a group will give you. As we're learning, we're growing. And that automatically means that we're challenging ourselves, hopefully, because that's how we truly grow. We're moving beyond the current limitations that we have. Maybe we're questioning things that we have previously thought. Maybe we are struggling to actually bring something new from short-term memory into long-term memory. The emotional support of a group of people behind you can be so tremendous and really keep you going in terms of your motivation, knowing that someone cares, that people are there to celebrate you and also hold you during the times that are difficult. Not to be underestimated, because left to our own devices, we as humans will sometimes go down a dark path and start feeling, I'm stupid, I can't do this, I have no talent, all these things that totally aren't true at all. But left to our own devices, we will find ourselves in those places. And it's far harder to stay in that place when you're in a group, because maybe you're going to share those thoughts and immediately you're going to get people coming in reality checking you and saying, no, of course that's not the case. Let's just see how we can woodshed this problem together. So you fix your problems much faster and your motivation stays high. It increases. And of course, then your chances of learning are so much stronger then. Feeling safe in a group can really allow you to sink much deeper into the material. It allows you to challenge yourself a lot more because you know you're safe. You know that there's a safety net, we could say. Very different than working on your own, where you might feel like, well, I'm working on this material, this challenging material. What if I go down the rabbit hole? Can I get myself out? You don't have to worry about that in a group. In a group, the group will help you out. And it will help you not even get down the rabbit hole in the first place, actually. And, there's that sheer aspect of the joy of celebrating each other in a group. When you tell someone, you're doing a great job, I am really happy this thing happened to you or that thing happened, you feel good inside. That actually is a benefit to you as you give them the gift of your positive feedback. And I feel like in giving people gifts like that within the group, you actually raise your own vibration, you raise your own motivation, your life is just better. You feel more positive about yourself and about other people. And then, of course, in groups, people do tend to form friendships. It's a beautiful way to meet people who have similar interests to you. You're both on the same course together, so obviously you have that in common. There are probably many values that you have in common. So friendships and collaborations even can emerge from a group experience. So far I've talked about the actual tangible learning benefits of group learning, then the emotional aspect. And then finally, I'd like to talk about the accountability aspect. Just knowing that you're in a group and there's an accountability factor, it helps your learning rise up in the level of priorities. We have so many different obligations, so many different commitments. And committing to a group means you know that you're going to show up. And showing up, is so much of the battle, right? Showing up, and then you're going to be able to do the work. So just having that sheer accountability of, oh, I know I'm in this group, I'm going to actually make this a priority, can be the difference between finishing a course and not even getting partway through, actually. So, the show up factor, is a very big deal. So those are the big three things that I see as being important for online learning in terms of group aspect. Supercharged learning, emotional aspect, and sheer accountability. Now, how to actually get this group component going on in online courses or online programs that you're in? Well, a lot of them do have a built-in online component. It may be a forum, it may be a Facebook group, either private or secret, maybe live Q&As, maybe all of the above. Take advantage of them. Even if you're against Facebook, and I can understand, because actually I have a very strict policy with myself. I only read my notifications. I do not go on my wall, ever. That way I don't get sucked into Facebook. Because honestly, there's a lot of cool stuff on Facebook too. People say, oh, it's such a waste of time. It's not. Some of it is a waste of time, but some of it is great stuff, but we just don't have time to deal with it. So there's my trick for you, notifications only. But say your course does have a Facebook component. You can set your privacy extremely high. You can have it so that you only are going to deal with your notifications, meaning that you go in and look at the Facebook group only. You don't deal with the rest of Facebook. So you really can set the parameters. It's not like I get on Facebook and my life is out of control, or else I don't go on Facebook. You can find a way to manage it. Going on the forums within your program, knowing that you will learn so much from the forums, and also you can contribute. Online groups are a relationship, so make sure that you're always giving a little bit as well. We don't want to just take from the group, because that kind of has a cold energy to it, and eventually your group vibe will start sort of freezing up. You want to keep that flow going, and that's what supercharges you. Remember when I mentioned that when you give positive feedback, it actually makes you feel good. So that's a huge amount of the online experience as well when it comes to groups. So take advantage of all of those when they are offered in your course. And you may find, oh, you know what, forums are not for me. Okay, but give it a shot first before you decide that. Live Q&As, always a wonderful way to learn. Now, what you can do is within your course, form a little study group. Maybe reach out to some people that you know and say, hey guys, I'd like to sort of have an accountability study group, buddy group, and you know that you're working on the material together. And what you're going to do is basically be there for each other. Now, oftentimes programs will also have a harp buddy program when it comes from harp, or other types of programs will have a buddy for whatever you're studying. And that's where you're paired up with one person. And that can be incredibly powerful because you two can really develop a very deep relationship and bounce a lot of ideas off each other. And of course, when it's one-on-one, the accountability factor is high because you know you're counting on each other, specific people. So there are some strategies there for creating groups within your own group. And you can also reach out to harp forums in general that are online, although those will be far less focused. You may, though, be able to find a way of creating community around particular topics that you're interested in. And that could count for anything, of course. I'm giving harp as an example, but whatever you're studying, you can reach out on general online forums and then try to be forming your own subgroups. So there are many ways that you can create community within your online learning environment. And I really encourage it because I think for the great power of what you learn online, learning it all on your own is a somewhat unnatural thing. You know, as humans, we are not islands. But that doesn't mean that suddenly you have to try and drum up a bunch of people bricks and mortar style. You can actually have online community as well. So these are my recommendations for you. I hope this was useful. Bye.